Can you put me down for 5 tonight in Hawaii over Gonzaga? I have it. I have the money. I literally have the money right here in my hand. I'm looking at it. Oh. Hey, JP? JP?
How's everybody feeling tonight? It's okay by me. Let's play some cards, huh? Aces are good, right?
I'm usually good at reading people, right? But you're all over the map. I can't spot your toe. Fold.
Want to know why?
Yeah.
I don't care about winning.
Where did you come from?
This movie finds its two characters, Ryan Reynolds, who plays Curtis, and Ben Mendelsohn, who plays Jerry, taking a ride down to Mississippi, New Orleans, actually, from, that's a trick about the title. I won't even screw up, I won't ruin it for you where that comes from. They drive from Iowa, where they meet, down to New Orleans, and they have this plan to make some money to play in a high-stakes poker game down in New Orleans. So there's a way in which this film really does this thing that critics especially love, but I think a lot of people respond to, which is the road movie. That's like two people headed from one point A to point B, who they meet, who they hook up with, what's their banter, all that kind of stuff. And there's a way in which this movie does that really well. And even though they get on a riverboat, it really is a road movie in some fashion. And part of it's because you get to see places, like Dubuque, and then St. Louis a little bit, and Memphis, and then finally New Orleans, with maybe a little side trip to Little Rock. And I think that one of the things that these directors do really well, and the directors are Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck, who've done Sugar, which was about a Dominican baseball player who had gone to train in Iowa in one of the farm teams, and they did a film called Half Nelson, which was really quite well received at Sundance, about a teacher played by Ryan Gosling, teaching at a Brooklyn school. And that was a really lovely film. I think that one of the thing I love about these filmmakers, and it's represented in this one, but maybe more entertainingly than almost any other time that they've done stuff, is this texture, this American texture. It really feels, to some degree, and people have said this, like one of these 70s films. The one that came to my mind, and I think it holds up, though I think there's some people that may disagree, is I think it feels a little bit, it looks a little bit like a John Huston film called Fat City, which Jeff Bridges starred in.
What do you have for me today?
Couple of weeks. Don't worry about it.
Tomorrow.
No.
I'll send Tim to drop you a visit.
Oh, no. There's no need to bring him into all of this.
Can I ask you a personal question? How much do you owe?
A lot.
To who?
Everyone. But I got a plan.
I'm listening.
We go down the Mississippi, but we hit up all the action. You'll be my lucky charm. I love it.
That game you are playing been played on me.
I don't deserve you, but you appeared like a leprechaun, and I had folly. I mean, boom, magic.
Listen to me, baby.
Next guy that comes out of the bathroom, if he's wearing glasses,
No.
we stay. If he's wearing glasses, just
$50. You're on.
yes.
I think that this is going to be a surprise for a lot of people who only know Ryan Reynolds as kind of a charming, sort of foil in a romantic comedy or something like that, because he's so good in this. Like when Ben Mendelsohn's character Jerry says that, it's like you come in and you're like sort of like my good luck charm, you're like a leprechaun. There's a way in which he has that vibe. And you don't have him completely figured out. I mean, Curtis is an interesting character. You don't know what entirely is going on and why they connect so much. And I think there's always a mistrust built into a movie an appropriate mistrust built into a movie like this, because it's about gambling. And it's also about a gambler who is deep, which is Jerry, deep into debt with people, and is in fact kind of an addict in that way. That means that he isn't manipulative, but he really does take advantage of a lot of people. There's that moment, you saw it in the trailer probably, where Ben Mendelsohn, whose performance is so beautiful, I mean, just physically beautiful, he's a really wonderful actor, but the two of them together are great. But like Mendelsohn sort of says, it's like, Ryan Reynolds says, who are you in debt to? And he does that thing with his hands, which is like, everybody. And it's just like, there's so much of that in this movie that has these layers. And I think that you could think that like Ryan Reynolds is sort of the straight man to this other guy, but he's so much more complicated in that. There's this sort of great moment, or these great scenes with sections where Jerry and Curtis go to St. Louis, and Sienna Miller plays Simone, who's like a working girl that is also clearly Curtis's girlfriend or kind of love. And there's like a lot of beautiful stuff that happens in those scenes with all the actors. So one of the things I like about independent films, I think one of the things that many of us like about independent films is how it allows actors to really show their stuff. Because sometimes, not this summer, I mean this fall is sort of different than usual, but sometimes big movies just don't. They're so big that the actor is part of a bigger machine and the machine itself becomes kind of the star. And that even seems to happen more and more. Whereas with independent films, you get these like sort of quiet, intimate performances that go, wow, you know what? That guy really is good. No wonder he got to like, you know, get a big paycheck for being an actor. He kind of knows what he's doing. And I think Reynolds here, it's a lovely performance of a character that we really like. And the interesting thing about Mendelsohn is like, he's a broken guy, right? I mean, that kind of like gambling, it's, you know, they're in like Iowa. When they meet, they're in Iowa at a poker game. It just seems so sort of, it always seems a little smoky and you know, smoke clings to the carpet, which is bad, and everything. It's all that stuff, and it always seems a little depressing to me. But you kind of like these guys, even though you know to be a little cautious and completely buying into what's going on. I think that that's the talent of the actors. I mean, of the actors, it's also the talent of the directors, who are also the writers of this script. So
Some guys are born to lose.
What do you want, Jerry? Tell me. Hit me. 1, 2, 3, lay it on me. Boom!
I just can't catch a break. I just can't win.
The story doesn't have a happy ending, Jerry. I think you should go back home.
Can't go back empty-handed. I can't do that. We're in it together.
What's he need the money for?
He believes that it will set him free. A hero is nothing more than the guy who pulls off what the rest of us are scared to do.
Let's bet it all. Double or nothing.
Yeah, bet it all.
you know, Mississippi Grind definitely has this feel of some kind of like old style film, like we said, maybe something from the 70s, and it even looks that way, and it willfully looks that way. These filmmakers don't make something by accident. I think they're straightforward and, you know, and meticulous and thoughtful about that, so that they're young filmmakers sort of referencing a time that allows for a kind of Americana to unfold, and a kind of story, you know, about gamblers and, you know, and going through Memphis, and there's a blues soundtrack that's really interesting, and it doesn't feel, the situations don't feel entirely sort of dated, but at the same time there's that kind of smell of desperation and loss and woundedness that does feel, if not sort of eternal to the American story, certainly something that has been engaged in independent cinema for quite a while. But that said, I think this is really one of the best independent films of the year. And when I saw it at Sundance, I thought, I mean, I loved it, and it didn't get the kind of buzz that other films were getting at the time, because, you know, it's Sundance, and there's always going to be something that's like, you know, cool, like dope, and does something different, like, you know, I can't think of other things that do something different in quite this moment. But what I think is interesting about this film is that when I saw it again, I loved it more. I think it's even more subtle. I think it's probably Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck's best movie in a lot of ways so thus far. And I think it's certainly Ryan Reynolds' like best performance I've seen, or one of the most interesting ones. There's so much to like about it. I'm actually looking forward to seeing it again.